Sausage is something most people never question. It's simple, familiar, and always looks the same. Smooth on the outside, dense on the inside. We slice it, put it on bread, add it to meals, and rarely think about what it's actually made of at a deeper level. From a normal perspective, it feels like a uniform product. There are no visible layers, no obvious structure, just a solid piece of food with a consistent texture. It seems predictable, almost engineered to look perfect. But sausage is not a single substance. It is created by grinding, mixing, compressing, and reshaping different components into one compact form. Meat, fat, and various additives are combined so tightly that the boundaries between them disappear to the naked eye. What we see is only the final result. The real structure is hidden inside. To understand what sausage actually looks like, a small sample is carefully placed onto a microscope slide and pressed into a thin layer. This allows light to pass through and reveals details that are completely invisible at normal scale. At this point, the product begins to change. What once looked smooth and simple starts to break apart into something far more complex. Now the sausage is under the microscope. Let's take a closer look at what it's really made of. At 80 times magnification, the sausage immediately stops looking like a smooth and uniform piece of food. Instead, the surface reveals a dense and uneven landscape made of irregular fragments pressed tightly together. The structure appears chaotic, with no clear pattern, as if multiple materials have been compressed into a single mass. Large rounded shapes begin to stand out across the field. These smooth circular forms are fat droplets, scattered unevenly throughout the sample. Some are isolated, while others cluster near darker regions, creating strong contrast between soft and dense areas. Between them, a darker granular background dominates the image. This region consists of finely ground meat particles, forming the base structure that holds everything together. Even at this scale, it becomes clear that sausage is not a single substance. It is a mixture, a compact system where fat and protein-based material coexist in an uneven distribution. At 200 times magnification, the internal composition becomes significantly more detailed and easier to distinguish. The darker regions now break into smaller components, revealing a dense aggregation of microscopic particles tightly packed with minimal empty space. The fat droplets become more defined and visually dominant. Their edges appear smooth and well separated from the surrounding material, emphasizing their softer, liquid-like nature compared to the rough protein structure. Some droplets begin to deform slightly, indicating that they are not rigid but flexible under pressure. At the same time, small particles appear suspended within and around these fat regions, showing how deeply mixed the structure actually is. At this level, sausage no longer looks solid. It behaves more like a complex emulsion where different phases interact closely with each other. At 800 times magnification, the structure becomes far more intricate and almost unfamiliar. The protein matrix now appears as a dense network of tiny, irregular particles, forming a continuous but highly textured background. The fat phase becomes more dynamic and dispersed. Instead of only large droplets, many smaller ones appear throughout the structure, creating a layered system where fat fills the microscopic gaps between protein fragments. Some areas look compact and dense, while others appear slightly porous due to the distribution of fat. This creates subtle variations in brightness and texture across the field. At this scale, sausage begins to resemble an engineered material rather than food, a carefully balanced system where structure and softness are controlled at a microscopic level. At 2,000 times magnification, the structure becomes highly detailed and almost abstract. The field is filled with extremely fine particles, forming a dense and continuous matrix, with fat acting as the binding component that holds everything together. The fat now appears as smooth, rounded inclusions embedded within the structure, often surrounded by tightly packed protein fragments. These regions create strong visual contrast between fluid and solid components. The protein matrix itself looks fibrous and fragmented at the smallest level, revealing how processed and transformed the original material has become. Nothing here resembles the simple slice of sausage we see every day. What appears uniform is actually a highly complex composition of microscopic elements. Looking this closely changes the perception completely. What seemed like a single product is, in reality, a structured system built from multiple components working together. If this surprised you, write in the comments what you want to see next under the microscope, and subscribe to keep exploring the hidden structure of everyday food.